Talking about MP's Diary. It's a program that gives you an opportunity to interact with your area member of parliament, and so far we've looked at various constituencies dotted across the country. Today we find ourselves in the constituency which is far south of Lusaka, and it is dominantly a rural constituency. We're talking about Kafue constituency. My sign language interpreter for today is Chola Kauman. Later on, I shall open the phone lines where you, our viewers and our listeners, will be able to interact with the area member of parliament and pose any question that you feel like. I should also make mention that this program is also live on our Facebook page, the National Assembly of Zambia. You can like the page and send us where you are watching us from. My guest on the program is Kola, a senior civil servant. She's been there. She's got wide, or should I say vast experience. I'm talking about Honorable Miriam Chonya Chinyama. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to just appear on MP's Diary. How's Kafue constituents doing?
Thank you so much, and good morning, viewers and listeners. Kafue is not bad. I think, like every other constituency now, we are also having to grapple with these issues of a bit of flooding here and there, but we are getting by. Yeah, generally.
You've been in office for almost, this should be your second term.
Year.
Seventh year, yes.
Yes.
How would you describe your experience as people that, a person who's serving the people of Kafue constituency for 7 years?
For 7 years, I would say it's been a rewarding journey, so to say, but you can clearly tell the difference now between the first tenure and the first 2 years that I'm serving under the ruling party. There's a lot of difference. In the previous term, as you know, I was serving under opposition then. There wasn't as much activity, development-oriented activities. Now I literally find myself extremely busy. Even this morning, as I was rushing to the studio, I was saying, my goodness, this is so demanding. And I can imagine, our colleagues who have also extra responsibilities. Because all of a sudden, I find myself just so busy with this, you have to check on that, you have all these meetings, to decide, you have all these issues to deal with, the demands that have come, especially with CDF. People calling for this and that. What about us? Why them and not us? So you find yourself in a situation where you are kept busy, you have to explain, you have to run around. So that is how the experience
why should it be like that?
Been.
When you're opposition, you are less busy. More especially opposition member of parliament, you're less busy. But when you are a ruling party, as the party which is in government, you tend to be very busy. Should that be the case?
It shouldn't necessarily be so, but if you got me clearly, part of the busy schedule now has been caused by, the aspect of CDF, which has come in a very big way. Okay. In the previous term. In fact, when I started the very first year, we were, we would receive something like 700,000 in CDF. And that would only mean maybe 2 activities. In total, the previous CDF was at 1.6, and so, and then it would not come, frequently. So in terms of activities, as we are experiencing now, there was really nothing much to do. Okay. And then you also know our colleagues, I think they were not as inclusive as the new Dawn government, I hope, is trying to be towards those in opposition. Okay. In the past, they would run along with their activities and not want to have much to do, with you as an opposition MP. It's just that, personally, I would push myself to be even where I would not be expected to be. Okay. Normally they would just see me appear, and so when I'm there, I become part of the process. Otherwise,
more than 20 members of parliament have sat where you seated, and the biggest cry has been the bureaucracy and the way CDF has handled. What are some of the experiences that you've experienced as a Kafue lawmaker in terms of accessibility to CDF? Even when you go on the ground, the voters, the people that are supposed to benefit from CDF, are the major complaints.
First of all, I think on the aspect of information, we clearly need to continue disseminating. But also I would encourage people, to take an interest, in these issues and seek the information. You understand? Yeah, because part of the challenge, like one of the challenges we've had, for example, with these empowerment bursaries for youth, they are targeting a specific category of youth, and certain courses are targeted for support with that fund. But you still find that our youths who apply, because they were accepted at the university, because they were accepted in a teacher training college or in a nursing college, which courses are not supported under CDF. So they would have submitted, those applications, and, they would be, at the time you are processing, and by that time, some time has already been lost. You discover, look, this was people submitted for wrong, courses. Okay. So that tends to waste some time in between. Other than that, there was also the aspect of, all these approvals having had to come, to the ministry headquarters. And you can imagine, receiving whoever was responsible at the ministry, looking at these things from across the country. It was quite a challenge. That also led to a lot of anxiety for people, making applications, especially for grants and loans. Mm-hmm. But now, at least, there is this decentralization, so to say, where the approvals now will be done at provincial level. And we hope that this will improve, at least the amount of time that it takes to process, these particular applications, whether they be for community projects or grants or loans.
All right, we do have a total number of 12 members of parliament that have served the people of Kafue, and your constituency was created in 1973.
Yes.
Only 2 female or women have served the people of Kafue. How does that make you feel, being the second member of parliament to serve?
Did you count 12?
Yes.
Oh, really?
About 12. We do have Robert Suchenga,
yes, of course.
Bradford Blemachira, Francis Matanda,
yes.
Bechebangandu, Chanda Sosala, Joe Shabusala,
yes.
Above Yusuf, and obvious Mwaliteta, and many others.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So where do you draw your inspiration from among these
among these previous serving MPs? I can't exactly pinpoint which one inspires me a lot, but I think I started following the politics during the time of Mr. Joe Shabsali. Okay. Of course, for obvious reasons, that during that election, I think my late dad also, contested. And he lost to Mr. Joe Shabsali then. Okay. Of course, before he moved on to contest from Pemba, and then he became MP there. So I think that was the time I started, following a bit here.
So
and
your
there.
dad has a huge impact, although he served a different constituents apart from Kafue.
I think so, yes.
All right.
To some extent. Yes.
Well, like we mentioned earlier on, Honorable, this is an interactive program where we'll be able to open the phone lines, and viewers and listeners out there, they'll be able to interact with us on 078-772801. That's 0978-772801. And if you want to call us a live calls, you can call us on 07728322128. And before we do that, we did take our cameras to Kafue and interacted with quite a number of people in your constituents. And first of all, we found ourselves at Railway Side Community School in Matanda Ward, and interacted with the head teacher at that school, and expressed gratitude on some of the projects that have taken place in that constituency. But let's take a look at what the head teacher of that school had to say.
Okay.
I'm Lera Musaka Shangala, head teacher, Railside Community School in Kafue District, Matanda Ward. The building is almost coming to completion. We greatly appreciate for all the services that have been rendered to Railside Community School. We are a community school with 1,887 learners, and we only had 6 classrooms When this thing was not complete, we had a very big challenge when it came to learning, such that we even had to reduce on the contact session with the learners. But fortunately enough, Child Fund came into being, and they built for us a 1x3 classroom block, which we have started using after they handed it over in October as well. So the completion of this 1x3 classroom block will come to alleviate the population and the learner population that we have in classrooms. Despite that, we appreciate so much for the government that has come into being, the CDF that has been poured into the Riverside community. We are so greatly humbled that we are beneficiaries of the CDF funds. And we would like to appreciate, our gratitude goes to the area MP, Madam Honorable Miriam Chonya, for recognizing that this school can also be a beneficiary of the CDF funds. Because the completion of this will greatly help the community, looking at the catchment area that we have, with so many learners that would like to be in school. And of course, with the coming in of the free education, we have so many learners that would like to be incorporated in the classrooms. But the challenge of the classrooms, we are not able to accommodate each and everyone. Equally, we have a challenge of desks. We have learners that we can't accommodate every learner to sit on the desks that we have. So equally, we would love to receive some desks that we can also have each and every learner sit, so that we have quality education and the learners can write properly when they sit on the desks. Our school is growing. The school growing, we have the challenge of course, the encroachment of the gardeners that have come in the school. So we would equally want people to come in and help us, because we would like to expand this school. And we are looking at a 1x4 classroom block through the area MP. If the 1x4 classroom block can be brought to the school, then the school is going to benefit greatly.
There you have it. That's the head teacher at Riverside Community School in Matanda Ward, right there in Kafue. Well, Honorable, we'll get 3 calls, and you respond to the request from the head teacher there, and you combine with those 2 calls that we'll get. The number that we are using, if you wish to take part on today's program, is 07728321122, and the SMS line, if you wish to send in a text message, is 0978772801. Once again, it's 07728321122 or 0978772801. That one is strictly for SMSs. Better still, we can also use our Facebook page, the National Assembly of Zambia. We're live as we speak. We'll be able to read your question or contribution. Let's see if we do have somebody on the line. At the moment, we do not have somebody on the line, but keep trying. It's 07728321122. Maybe you can quickly respond to the head teacher. They've requested for a 1x4.
Thank you so much. I can see that this recording was done some time back, because as we are speaking, that particular classroom block has since been commissioned, and it was opened with a set of desks inside. But I do agree with her that there's still need for more accommodation at the school. But what we are trying to do with CDF also, because these demands are everywhere across the constituency, not only for classroom blocks, but also for clinics, for roads to be done. There are just a lot of demands.
Okay, just hold your thought, Honorable. Let's accommodate a call as well on 0772832122. You are live on Parliament Radio and Television. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Kindly speak up. Your name and where you're calling us from. We are featuring Kafue area Member of Parliament.
My name is Otin Kayumba.
Mr. Kayumba, where are you calling us from?
Calling in Kafue.
From within Kafue. We have your lawmaker here. Your question or contribution?
Particularly in Kasengere.
In Kasengere.
Yes.
What's your question or contribution?
Yeah. My question is MP Mabugauti in short.
Good morning.
Just. Hello, caller.
Otin Kayumba.
Okay.
Mr. Kayumba, can you reduce the volume on your set there? We're getting feedback.
Let me reduce it.
That's the only way we'll be able to interact properly. 0772832122. That's that's the call line, and the SMS is 0978772801.
I can use my language.
Please proceed.
Hello.
You may proceed and use your language.
Okay, no problem. ya ndandawambala aliva ma bus driver ndi taxi driver nebo so ganji tulaba ama convenience kena hajiri mu mulawo kuti ababajanika mbalimbalira ni akoti aliabo ka Lord Joseph ga fadukosa bedo tira beregera mu station ali tulaba challenge ganji kuri kuma ba council muraho seventuloji ino chire mu kuti kaji banka at least na bagojata walipira njonya yandika kunezi kama muraro zinga especially vakansi vararo zinga review kona wapa kuchitira pava kuja na walipira njonya yandika kukanso then bakuhambira kuti unawanda kuti varongera pastation wakarongera kustation ero 2 mbudi ikuzida kuno kafiyo kugamurusa kuchanika kuti turagagiva kuti turonge namburi mu station but mburi are downtown.
All right, I'll request that you summarize your question so at least we can accommodate as many callers as possible. Just be brief with your question.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure
okay.
you've made your point clear and the Honorable has heard your question.
You're breaking.
I'm saying I'm sure the Honorable has heard your first part of your question and should be able to respond to you. Let's give chance to other callers as well. Thank you so much for your...
I was saying grassroots tuli penge denchi chosa to GC. So nga tulaba ama problem maningi kanyaguvere. Okay, anyway, it's fine.
Thank you so much for understanding. We don't have enough time and we've got quite a number of areas that we need to touch on this platform and we need to end by 9:30. Let's accommodate another caller on 07728322122 and the SMS line that we're using today is 078772801. Let's see if we do have somebody on the line and be able to also acknowledge those of you that are following us on the Facebook page. Maybe you can quickly respond. You were concluding the line on the head teacher.
On the head teacher. So I was saying the principle that we are using really is about equity and trying to ensure that we spread the resources across the 18 wards of the constituency. So we've heard the request, but we may not be able to come back so soon to railside because we have, another chain of similar pressing demands from the various constituencies, including in the same ward at a neighboring school in Mtendere. The situation is also equally pathetic. So we have all those things to try and, balance up. And then the bus driver who called, I've heard, his concern. And I think basically he seems to be advising his fellow bus drivers to say, look, it makes sense to even pay and load from the council than pay because you've been nabbed by a cop who found you, parking wrongly or trying to load people from a wrong point, which is also, a hazard because we should not do these things for the sake of cops. We should actually be able to be concerned about our own safety as passengers, and also the driver has to take into account the safety of the passengers themselves. So I think in that regard, we need our drivers really to do the correct thing. I've had those concerns before where they'll say, oh, the cops are troubling us, they're arresting us too much. But what's the problem? No, when we try to load people here, they come and catch us. And I would always challenge them to say, look, I'm the lawmaker. So do you want me to side with you for being on the wrong side of the law? It becomes
But we do
have
somebody on the line.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've been holding to them for quite some time. Let's accommodate this caller. You're live on Parliament Radio and Television. Your name and where are you calling us from? Sir Raphael, thank you so much and sorry for keeping you waiting. We needed Honorable to conclude our line of thought. What's your contribution?
Mwauka bwanji madam.
Mwauka.
Madam ife kuno tizwa kuti muli aware manza meti kumwa kulunda yakala 1 month.
Raphael mutu mina kuti phone.
Nili ukafiwa hapa ni wewe ya Solobon.
Sorry?
Solobon.
All right.
Yes.
Proceed with your question, Raphael.
Okay. So madam siniziwa kuti kuti muli aware kuti mamanzi amene tikumwa apatangala 1 month asiki manzi ativuta kuno tikumwa manzi ya brown na impurities mkati ya kutoka na vishani vya vamanzi vijasotiziwa kuti muli aware auro bwanji. Then second kuli road jamene ishoka kunkosi kujaenda ku C7 ja road tanka kapena almost 10 years si konzewa si gretewa so si kuti muli aware na the road ja auro bwanji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Raphael, for your contribution. Let me accommodate a few text messages that have come as we wait for other callers. We'll get a set of 3 callers, and then we'll be able to respond to those concerns. And this one, this text message, before we read the text, we do have another caller on the line. You're live on Parliament Television and Radio. Your name and where you're calling us from? Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from? Hello, caller. Good morning. We've lost that caller there. Make sure that you call us again on 077-2832122. We do have somebody on the line. You live. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello.
Hello. What's your name and where you're calling us from? Hello, caller. Your name?
Brian from Sierra.
Mr. Brian. Where are you calling us from?
Sierra.
From Siavonga. We're discussing Kafue. What's your question? We do have Honorable Miriam Chonya. Kindly reduce the volume on your television set. We're getting feedback. We'll be unable to communicate. Brian, are you still there? All right, we've lost Brian. Make sure that you turn down the volume on your television or radio set whenever you call us here. That's the only way we'll be able to communicate properly. And I did talk about some text messages that have come through, and this one reads, good MP, my concern is tap water supplied by Lusaka Water and Storage is dirty. Please, we need your quick response. I'm sure it's related to the previous caller that we heard, and I'm sure you're taking note of those. What plan do you and our MP have at Kafue Community School in ZC? I don't know if there's a place called ZC there in Kafue. Okay, somebody on the line there. You're live on Parliament Radio and Television. Your name and where you're calling us from? We shall not communicate if your volume is too high on your gadget out there, and it's impossible for us to interact if your volume is too high. Make sure that you turn down the volume, and we'll be able to communicate, and the honourable member will be able to hear you properly and respond to your concerns. Let's again push in another text message. YMP, this is a local. YMP mulasuka bwino. All right, I may not understand. So then make sure that you write as short as possible in terms of your text messages. You have somebody on the line. You live. Good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, we've lost that one. All right, as we wait for those calls, we caught up with Ida Nyangu, and she shared with the crew the challenges that residents of Kalundu View are facing. Let's head to Kalundu View and interact and hear what Ida had to say.
Inezina yanga Ida Nyangu nkala Kalundu View. Ma problems ya mechipitamo kuno Kalundu View inkani ya manzi so apatina 4 days manzi siyachoka kuno Kalundu View. So timaindo tapa ku Denizi kuja timbana wamaindo jumpa main road jama motoka yangala bize winangu anashita no bunkiwa. So nona munga pankani ya manzi tivutika maningi. Boma itiyanganeko pankani ya manzi. Na chipatala muno Kalundu View mulibe kliniki kulibe. Boma sembiatiranga nako lokuwa dwala mwana ni kunyamuka kwenda huko kukwela usiku tushitoyopa lokupanja njipaja pa mapeseka majanki menangu bafera mu manyumba kulibeshi patala pafupi chametinga tamangireko lodi kuno kwa metinkala isometi pafupi na lodi gravel kuli kudwala vifuba bana olwapa so yamina emotoka yanu mukapita chizasala mudastisi.
Wow, that's Ida there from Kalundu View. Honorable, your quick response. I think let's begin with the callers that we've received so far. Yeah.
And all the water issues.
Yes,
Let
yes,
me
please,
tackle this
please.
one first. Yeah. It's true, I'm aware, yes, that we've had water quality issues and also supply issues in Kafue. And I've been constantly in touch with the Lusaka Swarage Company. You know, they have updated me about, you know, some little maintenance works, you know, they would do here and there. Sometimes this bad water is as a result of, you know, some damaged pipe somewhere. But what they are doing in the medium term, I should say now, is that they want to overhaul some parts of our water, you know, system, because, you know, all these leakages are as a result of the infrastructure, the water network having, you know, eroded due to age. Now they are, I think they're just concluding the procurement of some of the equipment that they need to refurbish the network, and that should be able to improve, you know, the supply in town.
Okay.
You know, this follows from the visit, remember during the commissioning of our water plant in Kafue, where we made our representation to the head of state that Kafue was not benefiting from the water bulk project. And immediately he gave, you know, directives to water and sewerage to do something about the water situation in Kafue.
So what period have you given yourself for the people of Kafue to start enjoying? Because
So last year,
the source of
mhm,
Lusaka water comes from Kafue.
comes
You're
from
just
Kafue.
within. Why should the
Exactly.
people lack
And that was
in your
and that
constituency?
exactly was our bone of contention. So in December last year, that is when I was getting an update from the minister to say by April this year, and now we are already at the
Almost.
end of February. Yeah. So we are talking about 2 months because in between they were procuring, as I told you, and very soon people, I believe, will be on the ground, and some of these water issues will be resolved, you know, to some extent. The Kalundu View lady talked about a clinic also. I don't know.
And the road as well.
Yeah, she may be aware. I don't know whether she is aware that there is an initiative there in partnership with the Child Fund, where a new clinic is being put up, you know, in Kalundu View. So this should address this particular challenge. The roads in general, yes, Kalundu View, and the one who talked about the C7 road, of course, to say that it hasn't been worked on for over 10 years is a bit of an exaggeration, because I know that some works have been done on that road. But of course, you know, these roads that are no longer, they used to be tarred roads, but now they've become gravel, require routine maintenance almost on a yearly basis for us, you know, to see some difference. But how we are trying to address this also is that we've acquired some road maintenance equipment, and even in 2023 we are acquiring additional equipment, because what we did in the first round, we got a Caterpillar grader and a tipper. That was 2022.
Okay.
This year we've just approved the purchase of a water bowser and a compactor. So that should give us a full set of road works equipment that we should be able to set on our roads and do some maintenance. Wow, we are hoping that one day, you know, those bituminous standard roads can come back, because that is what is ideal, especially for a township like Kafue.
Okay.
Yes.
Your constituency is one of the biggest constituencies that we have in Lusaka.
Yes.
Maybe comparing it with other provinces as well. It stretches as far as Shantumbu here in Lusaka.
Yes.
And the people of Shantumbu, they feel neglected because most of the services are being provided by, if they are lucky, by neighboring constituencies like Lusaka Central, Chawama, Chilanga as well. What plans do you have to make sure that the Shantumbu Road is also done? Because they feel neglected, but they're busy also paying dues to the local authority in Kafue.
Actually, one of the last roads to have been worked on in the constituency was Shantumbo Road. You may be aware of the various contracts that government has recently cancelled, and one of the beneficiary roads was the Shantumbo Road. But this one, luckily, you know, the contractor was able to do the works before the cancellation was done. Except that, of course, there are many, roads, of course, that
and
people...
Shantumbo has developed now, and there are mansions.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. So that's why I'm saying that hopefully, in the medium term, long term, we may have bituminous standard roads, because even this road that I'm saying was last worked on, and that was during this same rain season. Okay. The road has already started being bad, and yet it was a very good piece of work.
So when are we seeing the water bows and the caterpillar doing the work in Shantumbo? Because I did visit, not too long ago, we did feature Kawata constituency, and most of the people were complaining because they did realize that they fall under curfew.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, it's a privilege that we have you now here too.
It will get on the work as soon as, we have the funding. As you know, the caterpillar came towards the end of last year, and the budgets were already closing. As we are speaking now, the council budget for 2023 is yet to be approved.
Okay.
So the council did not have, some monies that we could put in there to begin the maintenance works with our new caterpillar. Okay. Now, what we did also in 2023, we've set aside some substantial amount of money so that we will not have to rely on the council budget, which has to look at many other things, so that we have something from within CDF to be able to finance, some roadworks within the constituency. So we'll draw up a schedule. Right now, I can't tell you that in Shantumbo will be there after tomorrow, because we will have to draw up a schedule for the entire, constituency, and then see where we get to start from. That is how it will work. And what I've mentioned to the people of Shantumbo here is that, it's the same issue of equity. I know that they were used to being, to Lusaka. They were used to being attached, to Lusaka. But even when you are doing the other works in the other part of Shantumbo, the people of Shantumbo in Chalala will not appreciate the fact that any work was done in their constituency.
All right, let's
rather
get
in
to
their ward.
Let's get to you've exhausted all the concerns that were raised by various people. That
Generally, yes.
Let's head to curfew, and this time around we find ourselves at the market, and that market. Briefly, you did touch on the issue to do with CDF, but marketeers there at the market are complaining. But let me not preempt. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah.
Mwanga ni Jericho Derek Musamba. Nchito dingenza woda mkafio textiles. Pachapa mene naenda pa redundancies getizeti pachi. Ndipo linasira nchito na kuyamba private job yanga ya welding. Nita employ banyamata bali 5. Mozi mwana wanga the rest aba batatu banasiza maskuru bali bevo chita. So nawo punsa welding pamene pano tisebenza nabo. Timapanga kwa door frames, ma window frames, mageti na kurufinga nyumba just yonse tirufinga. Tikwanisa. Mwe problem uli pano chabe ni empowerment chabe ndalama zakuti company kule tilibe. So ngati boma ngatandize kuti watipasa kwa tliso lokaloni ta kwanisa kwa kushita empower ta kulako machines zena ngo yapakako tinga stable no maningi tinga yamikire maningi.
Ine ndine Enes Kabwadu. Inabwera muno market mu 2005. Painangena market muno. Ili widow sinokwatiwa. But timvera empowerment ati abwera kulibe. Empowerment wazimai kulibe. But timvera wanzatu ati wapaswa empowerment. Ukatamba pa TV beza kulusaka wapasa. Kukitwe wapasa. Kuno kwatu kafuwe kulibe. Sti wonako na kamene ifikira. So ise kuno market so vutikira tingo kongola vavene kuti tigulise. Tikakongola taleta kuti tigulise bana badye. Tikakongola kuti tigulise yoti bana badye. Ndiye mavuto ametuona muno mkafuwe mwatu tilibeta ndizo. Yo titandiza tilibe. Ola tiende oti tilile uyo ola bakabwera tikaenda tagwada titandiza nkoni baso sivioneka.
Change ubemena onapo change change sioneka kuti market ni market yazoona Bazimai iso tizeko nzeru ola kutoka matea bazimai zizako litani machani vijavofula vao tanizo wa bazimai kulibe swati pasa basankana chabe weka bapasana timbe atuwa kwenze ndrama zo pasa za bazimai nchembele munga ine tipeza kulibe.
Wow, there you have it. That's mothers. They are complaining of empowerment. Maybe you can quickly respond to those concerns. But before you do that, let me push in a text message, or should I say Facebook messages. And this one reads from Sikana Andrew Sumbwe, saying, from the CDF funds, are roads in Greenfield going to be considered? That's the question there. And Joseph writes, this is Joseph from Manyinga district of Northwestern Province. Good morning. Thank you so much, Joseph, for registering your presence. Good to know that you're with us on Parliament television and radio. Maybe quickly you can respond
empowerment. Empowerment, you know, like we were saying, maybe it's a question of information. And I can only encourage those women and many others out there to go and go on the right doors. But in terms of trying to disseminate information, I think we have done, and quite a number, you know, of our marketeers have indeed accessed, you know, these empowerment grants and loans. Recently, there was this marketeer booster loans, and
which market is that? Because we did visit that market.
Kalukungu, within Kalukungu,
the same market.
The same market, yes. There are people that have received. You know, I was going to talk about how as Kafue.
Okay. Would you allow me to accommodate a caller, Honorable,
yes,
so at least you can combine your responses?
Okay.
Hello, caller. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Kindly speak up. We are faint. We can hardly get you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yes, I just have one or two questions to our...
What's your name, sir?
Oh, Jeff Banda.
Where are you calling us from,
Jeff
Mr. Banda?
Banda in Kafue, Shikoswe.
Shikoswe. Your contribution, sir?
Yes. No, it's a question, actually. Yes, the MP.
Yeah.
Therefore, we push up our MP up to not your Taikaba MP sana. Imyotokata shire pita abantu tabale pita ama drainages, we don't have ama drainages. Then the second question, kwabako ilia chechi ilia fresh anointing, something like that between those two car parks.
Yes.
Pa Kelvin Mutale car park, between Kelvin Mutale car park na pali bahala car park.
I know the church.
Ilia chechi ilia ni roti. Bali ni roti. Map yonse ya Shikoso ilela ngati ni roti. But we don't know what's going on. Bali kula po chechi pali. So bali tupangira sana echongo 047 badampo kulishe filimba. Even today 047 ifilimba badampo kulira 261.
All right, just conclude.
Then again, something somewhere kuma 15, 16 again ifilimba badampo kulisha. 18 badampo kulisha. Now we just want to find out from our member of parliament.
All right, thank you so much. I hope he has reported to the local authority. And yeah, let's accommodate the two sets of calls, and the Honorable will be able to respond. Remember, this is an interactive TV and radio program, and it is MP's Diary. And today we tour a constituency from the south part of Lusaka, and this is Kafue constituency. And my guest this morning is Honorable Miriam Chonya Chinyama. You're live on Parliament television and radio. Your name and tell us where you're calling us from. All right, we don't seem to have somebody there. Maybe you...
So
okay,
I was on the issue of empowerment.
The phone is buzzing, Honorable. Apologies for that. You're live. Your name and where you're calling us from? Hello, your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello?
Hello, your name, please, and tell us where you're calling us from. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Kindly tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Morning.
Ba? What's your name? Watedi. Okay. Go ahead with your name, Watedi. The line. Watedi musebonshu. Okay.
ero abantu barashupika eri alo
Go ahead, Batedi.
abantu bashupika usanga sometimes amabhasi yali amupita kukafuwe pamulandu wa musebo oli abwere bushobora mpi bate tontonkanya kofinshi pali we musebo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Teddy. I'm sure the Honorable has taken note of your concern there. I should be able to respond. It's 0772832122 and 0978772801 is for your SMSs. Let's push in one more caller and give ample time to the Honorable to respond to the concerns that we heard from the clip that we played earlier on and the calls that we've received so far. This is MP's Diary, and it's an interactive radio and television program where we give you an opportunity to interact with us. We do have somebody on the line. Kindly tell us your name and the place you're calling us from.
Yes, good morning. This is Uncle B from Zwembala Chingola.
Uncle B from Chingola. Your question regarding Kafiwe constituency.
Yes, I wanted also to contribute on that. What we want just tell you the MPs and fulfill the promises. No, what you explain to people. Try to fulfill those promises. Mwabe babuno wino papa. Enoti malanda pintu elo makana kusomba. Bombele ni bantu accordingly. So that imanga mabombela bantu. Naga ni bantu bonse kuti babako bamwena kulimu. Not mulela ndavi kuma TV. We watch all the television every day. So try to work accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your concern there, and I'm sure the Honorable will be able to respond to you. Maybe quickly respond. The issue to do with empowerment, I did pose a question and you emphasized that it's the same market. But how come others are left out? And they are not aware of the progress that is made regarding CDF?
You know, that is why I said the issue of information dissemination is always good to continue with that, because right at the Kalukungu market, where these people are complaining, I'm aware that the people from the Department of Small and Medium Scale Enterprises went to do sensitization there, because my office has been working closely with them like that. They did sensitization around the markets. And I was just going to tell you about how well we fared as Kafiwe in the Lusaka province in terms of how many of our people have accessed, these empowerment funds. I just don't have the figures now, but when CEC was engaging us and giving us the statistics right in this amphitheater, Kafiwe, out of all the constituencies in Lusaka, was the second best. And we were only second best because the biggest number was coming from Lusaka, which has about, 7 constituencies, and the margins were so, close by. So, whereas Kafiwe, as you know, it's one district, one constituency. So for Lusaka, all those 7 constituencies under the Lusaka district seemed to have done well. And yet, if you divided, that number, with the number of constituencies, you find that, in fact, the Kafiwe number would even have now beaten, all the other constituencies in Lusaka. So that is, how well we did on the issue of the Marketeers, Empowerment Fund. But for grants, we continue to encourage people also to register their cooperatives. We actually have continued to do the sensitization so that people can take advantage of these CDF funds, because they are targeted especially for women and the youths. So those that have risen to the occasion, I think, have seen the benefit of doing this, and we can only encourage, the others, to do that. Of course, initially there were these problems of registering the cooperatives, but there are so many avenues. We've also done equally that sensitization that, apart from here at PACRA, the department responsible for cooperative registration, people can also register at councils. The youths can register at National Youth Development Council. All these are different avenues that people can use to register their cooperatives and later on apply, for these CDF funds through the award development committees. So that is how it works. If people do not organize themselves, of course they'll find it difficult. They will be wondering how the next person is receiving and them they are not.
So what mechanism have you put in place that information is trickled down to
So
an
this,
ordinary person?
so this is the sensitization that we are talking about. You know, I would engage councillors to disseminate this information. Occasionally, I do appear also on our curfew radio, you know, to disseminate this information. And once in a while, you know, time permitting, I would pass through these same markets to share, you know, one or two things or listen to one or two of their, you know, concerns.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there other concerns that were raised by the callers as well?
I think again the other two concerns that came later pertain to roads, which I had explained much earlier. Greenfield, the place that this person is mentioning, is actually where I live, you know, and in between the Shikoswe. So I'm aware of these bad roads, but like I said, you know, we are relying on our local authority, who are yet, you know, to have their budget approved, but also our own budget, you know, from the CDF funding which we submitted. So anytime we hope that it can be approved, and once the 2023 CDF disbursements, you know, begin to come in, our top priority is actually on the issue of roads, especially that we are just in the rain season that has actually made our roads, you know, very, very, very bad.
All right, let's get to our insights and interact with various people out there, more especially the people that we got in touch with when we went out to visit Kafue constituents. And this time around, we caught up with the Director of Works from Kafue Town Council. And it did talk about the classroom construction site of a 1-by-3 classroom block at Chiparamba Primary School. And let's take a look at what he had to say regarding this project.
Yeah.
My name is Akabach Deshe. I'm the Director of Works for Kafue Town Council. So this particular project is for the completion of a 1-by-3 classroom block at Chiparamba Primary School. The scope of works is basically completion of the classroom block. So it includes roofing, concrete works, carpentry, and painting. As of now, the project is at 38% in terms of progress. Basically, there was need to construct a bus stop around this area because there's no place where taxis can be picking up people and also buses. So basically, the scope of works for this one is construction of the driveway, the shelter, and also the drainage system. We are at 80% in terms of progress, and we hope to finish by the end of December this year. As you can see, they are already doing the concrete drainage here. We've done the cement stabilized sub-base, and we are just waiting for the pavers to come, then we do the paving.
There you have it. Any update? Where are we in terms of that project? And the shelter looks small. It looks like a car wash on it. But it's a bus station.
I like that feedback. But first of all, the school that he talked about again at Chiparamba, that one has since been completed. There was one caller who was talking about a community school in Zambia compound. I don't know whether that was the school they wanted to talk about, but it has since been completed, you know, and commissioned. Okay. Of course, the bus stop, which looks like a car wash,
definitely
is yet to be completed. This one, you heard him talk about the pavers. I think they were still trying to look for. They spent some time looking for, you know, the pavers with correct specifications, which has enough strength to stand the traffic. So I think they've since you know found a source for that, and they will, I'm sure, be resuming the works. Okay. So of course, from the December projection that he was putting across, it means that we ran behind of that one. Okay. Yeah, but a lot of you know projects are really going on, and some are near completion, others are starting. Basically, Kafue, to borrow, you know, that term, has become a construction site of various, you know, projects. Very soon we'll be starting, you know, the police post. While another one in Shantumbu area, is also being, completed. You could have heard my debate the other day on the SONA speech, where I was saying, a few weeks ago when we were still on recess, almost every week I was having to commission something as a result of this enhanced CDF, which really we appreciate. I think not just as a Kafue constituency, but elsewhere, as people are sharing, I think it's really been a game changer, and we need to, give credit, I think to the New Dawn government, for having facilitated this fiscal decentralization, because now the monies, the developmental funds are reaching the people, and we are determining our own local, priorities.
All right.
So we'll be able to deal with the roads, as I said. Once the 2023 disbursement, we've set aside some monies. Even that road that the gentleman talked about in Chikupi, yes, I'm aware, only that, it is these challenges. But meanwhile, I must also commend the other communities, that have been able to mobilize, themselves. Okay. Because while we would want Boma to Yanganapo on everything, it doesn't take away the fact that we as communities can also still mobilize ourselves in our own small ways to be able to attend to some of the, very pressing issues while we are waiting for government response.
As we wind up, Honorable, let me just acknowledge the few people that we have on our Facebook page, and we do have Mr. Joseph Leon Chives Chipanya Jr., who's saying, good morning, watching you from Serenje District, Central Province. Thank you so much for being with us. Matoka Lukungu, watching from Kalumbila City, Northwestern Province, and Manyama Matoka Lukungu, thank you so much. Watching from Livingston, we also have Kalumbila Manyama Town, that's Wanjinja Miloshi, and Matoka Lukungu. Also, again, I think I've acknowledged this one, Elijah Edwin Sinyenda, saying, may I know why some companies have increased? Okay, I think this is away from what we're talking about. It's talking about salaries.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're discussing Kafue constituents. As we come to the end of today's MP's Diary, Honorable, what could be your word of encouragement to the people of Kafue as you continue serving them? And have you ever felt like giving up at some point?
Okay, before I conclude by encouraging the populace, I wanted to just comment on the issue of the church.
Okay, yeah, the caller that maybe yeah, just under a minute, because
yes.
we are running out of time.
Okay, yes, indeed, there were some issues around this church, and in terms of where it has been placed. Clearly, it's also a case of, some officers within our local authority, disregarding the plans and coming up with plots where they are not supposed to be. Now, this has now received strong caution in terms of people who deal, inappropriately in land issues. You are aware that Kafue was a victim recently of suspension. Underlying that suspension was the issue of land. So I hope that, going forward, our officers in the council, our councillors, and that the chairperson herself will be on top of things in ensuring that the right thing, is done in Kafue with regard to land administration. Otherwise, it's very unfortunate. We've taken note of the issue of noise. I will convey, that concern, to this same church. But in terms of promises, somebody talked about promises. I think that generally speaking, as the New Dawn, for me, I think we are trying, to respond to the concerns. I personally would not have promised things that I can't deliver, as an MP. What I have promised, I would always strive to try and do something. Because I'm also honest enough, to say this may have difficulties because of A, B, C, D, and D. So I'm not that kind of MP that will give you all the flowery language and all in order, to get votes. So I believe in, integrity as I do my work. Perhaps that is what earned me a second term.
Okay. Honorable, thank
as the first ever MP to return for the second time. Otherwise, for the people of Kafue, let's soldier on. Yes, indeed, there are challenges, but they will not finish overnight. But the consolation is that now we have a responsive government that will look into the different issues that we have, including those of, employment opportunities, the issue of reviving industries, all these things are in the plans, and we, as your lawmaker, I'll continue engaging government, to ensure that we do things according to our 8th National Development Plan, which talks about, all these pressing issues that I've talked about.
Honorable Chonya, thank you so much for finding time early in the morning and interact with your people in Kafue.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ndovi. It was a pleasure.
There you have it. Today we were in Kafue, and our guest for today was Kafue Area Member of Parliament, and this is Honorable Miriam Chonya, who just took us around her constituency and share with us her developmental agenda for the people of Kafue. My sign language interpreter for today was Chola Kauma, and my name is Paul Ndovi. Not forgetting the entire production crew. We'll be back next week as we look at yet another interesting constituency within Lusaka. God bless, and continue listening and watching Parliament.